So, I work in a regional grocery store chain as a cashier, and this morning, I was ringing an old lady up. She was very pushy and demanding during her order, but I just ignored that, since a lot of customers are like that. But when I got to the end of her order, she asked what her total was, and I read it to her. And she said she couldn't hear me. So I raised the volume of my voice a bit. And she said she still couldn't hear me, and actually started making fun of me for having a quiet voice. It's worth noting that I have a lung condition that makes it physically difficult and painful to raise my voice, so I tried one last time to raise my voice a bit more so that she could hear me, and it makes my voice come out sounding strange since it's physically painful for me to do so. And then she just kinda stops and stares at me for a second and then goes, "You know, I don't think you're supposed to talk to your customers like that, young lady." And the lady in line behind her, a middle-aged lady who just showed up right as this was happening, goes, "Yeah, no, that was super uncalled for. I didn't like that. That was hostile." And I'm legitimately super confused and startled, because I genuinely didn't mean for it to come out that way, and didn't even think it came out that way at all. I didn't yell or act snippy or anything, I just spoke up a bit louder in a genuine attempt to get her to hear me. And I tried to explain myself and apologize, basically, "I'm really sorry if that came across as rude, ma'am, I promise I didn't mean it that way. I have a problem with my lungs that makes raising my voice painful, and I really apologize if my tone sounded curt. I really didn't mean it." And she just looks at me and goes, "Oh, gee, well, I'm sorry for being alive. I mean, wow, sorry I bothered you, right?" Super sarcastically, and rolls her eyes at me, and the lady behind her backs her up, glaring daggers at me, going, "Yeah, no, that wasn't okay. That was really wrong. Seriously, what is your issue?" And the two of them keep ganging up on me and telling me off like that for a while and treating me like I just slapped the older lady across the face or something, and I can't help it and just start tearing up and crying right there. Only then do they both stop, and it's like they both suddenly realized they were talking to an actual human being with emotions, because they both immediately backed off, started apologizing, promised not to tell my manager, and tried to reassure me. It's just, do people like those two forget they're talking to people when it comes to retail workers? Or do they just not care until they have to see the consequences of what they say and do? Used to sell cars, my auto group had a policy. We do not give non-customer facing employees contact details, yes, even their company information. FYI, we have this policy because years ago a customer went completely irate on two of our title clerks and it caused issues. Also, those people do not fully understand, nor do they have the time to understand all the aspects of the customer requests. They, who shall be referred to as admins, do very good work. Customer loses some important document that he needed for his vehicle. He comes to me, his salesperson. I tell him, "Yeah, I can send that up." He goes, "I know you're busy, let me do it for you." I said, "I'm sorry, I can't give you the admin's contact info." "Why not?" he asks. I explain that we have a rule against giving our non-customer facing employee contact information. That I will send up his request, we will work on it. He tells me I'm a paying customer, I want to deal with those people directly. I go, "I'm sorry sir, but that can't happen," to which the customer says, "Let me speak to your manager." I said fine. I called up my sales manager, no answer. My GM is walking by, I run out and tell him. He goes, "Sure." He comes in, gets the same story I've already given him, and my GM says, "I'll tell you what, I'll personally go to the admin and try to get this done for you," to which the customer said, "I want their email address," to which my GM said, "I'm sorry sir, but we do not give out non-customer facing employees contact information." Customer frustrated goes, "Well, that's a stupid rule, who made that one up?" My GM said, "I'm the one that made that rule up." Customer sitting there ... It's dawning on him he's hit the top of the chain of command, so I'll have to just wait? My GM said, "Yes, and trust me, I want you to have the best experience possible, so we will do what we can to fix this." FYI, the problem was the customer 5-year son threw the folder with all the ownership documents into his fireplace ... So it wasn't exactly our fault. In the end we got duplicates made. I was sitting on top of a 10-foot ladder watching the registers during seasonal rush. customer walks over to the foot of the ladder and starts to complain about the 16 years/0 first job in retail ringing up a crowd I literally have to sit above to watch them and my cashiers. I tell the customer I'm sorry about their experience, but they were able to get all of their product at the correct price and in a timely manner. The customer asks for a discount because of the longer queue time to check out. I inform the customer we are dealing with about 8 times our normal customer volume and only had 2 extra registers, so unfortunately things do take longer than normal but are still moving at a good speed, with the average transaction taking about 90 seconds. They ask to speak to the manager, so I ask them to step aside so I can get off the ladder and go get the manager. I walk into the back office to swap out my normal name tag for my name tag with my job title and go back out to speak with the customer. The customer doesn't find the bit nearly as funny as I do, but they do understand I'm not giving them a discount. Not like there was a register open to help them on anyway. In my store's parking lot, there's a crosswalk. It's not part of the road, it's specifically a place to cross part of the lot. It's clearly marked to prevent customers from parking there. However, one day as I'm walking into work, I notice a car parked in said crosswalk. Its windows are tinted and the car isn't running, so I couldn't tell if there were people inside or not. I needed to walk there, so I just walked around, gave the car a strange look and told my friend with me, well, that's an odd place to park. We walk a couple feet when a lady gets out of the car and yells, "Hey, do we have a problem?" To which I reply, "Yeah, that's a crosswalk, you can't park there." She then proceeds to yell, "Mind your own business," and walk around. After this I just walked into the store and she was gone next time I looked. I would have gone on arguing, but hey, I'm in front of my job with my uniform on. Plus, if someone's going to park in the crosswalk intentionally, they probably don't take kindly to common sense. When I worked retail, this was a really mail we received from a customer. Dear Harris Division of Nuts, I write to you today to express my amazement at the level of security under which you place your dry roasted peanuts. I am quite sure that they have not been tampered with in the store, because I was not able to tamper with them once I got them home. I also asked my roommate to help me open them. She could not. We handed them to our third roommate. He could not. Roommate number 1 and I then had the same idea of cutting it open with a large butcher knife and repackaging them, but roommate number 2 was not to be deterred. He continued his valiant effort by using ever larger tools from his workbench in the garage. Wrench, nylon strap, pliers, all failed. In a final gasp of inspiration, he put the lid in a vise he had mounted to the workbench, figuring that even if he couldn't twist it off, he could at least break the seal of doom which your nut wizard had cast upon the lid. The vise having prevailed, I am also happy to inform you that your peanuts are pretty tasty. When I sold cars, we had a really nice showroom with large glass windows. One day I was tasked with moving a powerful V8 sports car, which was in the showroom. I was supposed to reverse the vehicle into position. However, the floor had just been mopped. I put the car as what I thought was reserve, manual transmission. When I started to let up the clutch, I felt the wheels slip, so I thought floor is slippery, just give it a little bit more. I give it a little bit more and the car launches forward into the large glass pan. Thank God it was a hard top. When this happened I freaked, let go of the clutch, and the car had enough power to break the glass pane. This was right before opening. The glass pane was massive, that extended maybe 20 feet wide and 20 feet tall maybe? I'm not sure, it was fucking big. This all right before opening on a Saturday. I get called into the GM office, who asks me for the facts. I tell him what happened. He asks me if I'm okay with doing a breathalyzer. I agree. I hadn't been drinking that morning or the day prior to I passed. He said, well, you're sober, so that's good. I go, yeah, I am. This was just an incredibly dumb mistake. He goes, yeah, it was. I ask, so am I fired? He laughs. You are too expensive to fire now. I ask, what do you mean? He goes, do you know how much it's going to cost me to replace that glass pane? I go, a lot, I imagine. He laughs, yeah, probably more. The car you used to drive through it with. I go, oh wow. So I go, so I'm not fired? He goes, oh hell no, I know you will never ever do that again. From now on you're in charge of moving cars inside the showroom, now get back to work. And I went back to work. I personally refused to move cars in the showroom for about a month or so. Eventually I started doing it again and did not have another accident.